Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, Monday Night Politics. Let's talk all about it, folks. What are sources telling me?
Freddy wins.
Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, Monday Night Politics. Go over some of the things people are reaching out to me, wanting me to know, so I can tell all you wonderful people of the city of Yonkers. Welcome to Basement Politics. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, what are sources telling me? Got a lot of information from sources calling me up, wanting me to know what's going on here in the city of Yonkers. But first, another lawsuit. This is actually an old one, but it's still active. And the city, I should say, the taxpayers are going to be shelling out over $5 million. Now, how many lawsuits has this administration gotten the taxpayers into? Really, it's the taxpayers that pay for the settlements, right? And I've been wondering about this, recently with my whole lawsuit and lawsuits that are coming out and that are going to, that have already come out, that are going to be coming out against the current administration. Do they even care? Did they even care about the fact that what they did to me would result in me coming back with a lawsuit? What they've done to other people like Anthony DiMaggio, former Yonkers police lieutenant, who was fired because he had an issue with a subordinate, someone who was, beneath him in ranking, yet outranked Anthony DiMaggio in the hidden ranking system that's becoming more and more known now, right? Certain people have certain, protection, certain power or steam, as they call it here in the city of Yonkers. And if you mess with them, that's your job, it's your career, it's your business. And if you sue, it doesn't matter. Taxpayers are going to pay for it, but we got you out. How many people has this happened to? We've heard this before, time and time again, from superintendents to principals, police officers, DPW workers, people in City Hall, business owners like myself. And it's all the same pattern, really. It's the same tactics that they use. They attack them using building departments, using their superiors who are ass kissers, a lot of them. They use their connections to different state and county agencies as well as local agencies. And they try to hit people up with the child porn or the pornography thing, right? We've had superintendents, principals, people who work for the city up in City Hall and other departments get fired over child or some kind of pornography allegation. And they've sued for defamation and they've won. But we don't hear about that, right? Because they don't want us to know the fact that the city was lying and then taxpayers had to pay millions of dollars to compensate these individuals who were targeted for whatever reason. Individuals, again, like Anthony DiMaggio, who has an amazing case, and I'm sure will be winning lots of money in the near future. But he's not the only one that's winning a lot of money. In the matter of City of Yonkers versus Yonkers firefighters, Local 628, this case is indicative of what's wrong with the New York court system. It's saying what's wrong with the New York court system, right? This is a Zehi Jeris, in my opinion, and based on allegations by sources, reliable sources, that Zehi Jeris is behind the Yonkers Tribune. So they blame the courts for this. These disabled firefighters were denied these monies for 8 years. What started in 2015. For 8 years, they were denied money. Now the city of Yonkers will have to pay the disabled what they were due at 9% interest, well over $5 million in total, and God knows how much in legal fees. The Yonkers Firefighter Union has prevailed. He says that almost like it's a bad thing. Like they don't like the firemen. And I've had people call me up with strange numbers and say, hey, why don't you ever mention McGooey? McGooey? Is that his name? What's his first name? Forgot his first name. He was the union president, fireman. Why don't you mention him and how he got a nice lucrative retirement package? Well, he's not corrupt. He's not hurting people currently. And I don't think he hurt people before, but I do know he was a fighter. And at one point he supported Mike Spano, I should say, in the beginning, but he went against him. And he supported and represented his union members like a union president should. And so they didn't like that. New York's highest court has ruled against Mayor Mike Spano's administration again. And I highly doubt that this will be the last time. In this case, we are asked to determine whether the union and the city of Yonkers may arbitrate their dispute over General Municipal Law 207, a benefits pursuant to an arbitration clause in their collective bargaining agreement. We conclude that Yonkers must arbitrate the Section 207, a dispute consistent with our well-established case law. See matter, they named the case law. So the city doesn't want to pay these firemen who were disabled, who were out on disability. And they fought them. They took it to court, and now they lost. And because it's taken so long, they have to pay a 9% interest. But they didn't care because they knew if they lost, the taxpayers would pay for it. It's not coming out of Mike Spano's money. None of the Spanos are paying for this. Not coming out of Lakeisha Collins' money. You know, when she did that prayer, the single mom prayer, and the money started to rain, she's not giving any of that up. Neither is Corazon, Tasha Diaz, John Rubo, who's going to be making a lot of money at the Yonkers Brewing once they got all those apartments done. Right, John? I know you're excited about it. I get it. I'd be excited too, Johnny. Be excited too, Johnny. Well, I want to read the article in its entirety. Thought I had it up already. Here it goes. Oh, great. Hey, Hezi, the freaking, and Zahi with the damn pop-ups. Unbelievable. This appeal arises from a dispute between Yonkers and its firefighters as to whether Yonkers must make certain types of payments to firefighters who are permanently disabled by work-related injuries and who qualifies for benefits under General Municipal Law 207A2. Section 207A2 provides that until the disabled firefighter reaches the relevant age, Yonkers must make up the difference between the state's disability pension benefits and the firefighter's regular salary or wages. For decades, Yonkers has paid certain benefits to all of its active duty and temporary disabled firefighters, as well as General Municipal Law 207A2 beneficiaries. In 2015, Yonkers announced that it would discontinue those payments to General Municipal Law. But listen, all the people that they're giving money to for no reason. How about you don't build that park, that waterfront park, because we have waterfront parks. So we have that land over there, JFK Marina, you know, you've heard of that, right? We have the pier there, but we need one over there by Ludlow, right? By the water treatment place, right across from the Spanos' property and Joe Carter's property. A park that the city of Yonkers managed to find $10 million to put in. The county's going to put another 10. So this is a $20 million park. How many people are going to go to this waterfront park now once they get done with it? How many people, really? Is it something we want? Our firefighters here who have been disabled due to work-related injuries need to be paid, Yonkers. And you're worrying about a park. There goes $10 million. Give half of that to the firemen. Put the other half towards the schools. I'd rather see that happen. I don't know about you guys. The merit of that disputes are not at issue here. Instead, the issue on appeal concerns the arbitrability of underlying grievance. Is that a word? The union filed a grievance with the Yonkers Fire Commissioner, alleging that the determination to discontinue the special pay violated the CBA between the union and Yonkers. After exhausting the due process hearing procedure, the union served a demand for arbitration. Yonkers responded by filing a petition pursuant to CPLR Article 75 to permanently stay arbitration. Supreme Court initially denied Yonkers' petition, but on re-argument granted the petition and permanently stayed arbitration of dispute. The appellate division reversed Supreme Court's order on re-argument and adhered to the Supreme Court order denying the motion to stay. So basically, they're making them pay. Pay them. Pay our firemen. We love them. They have a dangerous job. Allegedly, he's naming the park after his father. Well, why wouldn't he? I mean, it's across the street from their father's property, 132 Fernbrook. They stand to make a lot of money. And that's why they're so invested over there in Ludlow Park. Did you see how many news press conferences they've had already? All of them have shown up. All levels of government. Even Congressman Bowman was there at one point last year, supporting this park. Corazon, Jose Alvarado, of course, the mayor. What's so special about this park? I mean, they don't even show up like that for our educational system. They don't show up like that for the homeless. They're not even speaking about the people being evicted. But this park, $10 million, no problem. They found it. Where did you get that 10 mil from? Is it the money that the Con Edison is reimbursing Yonkers that's going into the general fund? That's poor accounting. Wouldn't you agree, Moranti? Can you please explain that? Or do I have to email you officially? I mean, I know you guys watch the show. Things get back to me. Tuesday, December 20th, 2022. Who's going to attend this meeting? That's tomorrow. Important meeting notice. Yonkers, December. And when did he put this up? He probably put this up yesterday. December 17, 2020, please be advised that Yonkers City Council has called a special meeting, really, for Tuesday, December 20th, 2022 at 4 p.m. But they can't call for a special election. Why can't you call for a special election on the term limits, Yonkers City Council? You guys don't call anything. You just do as you're told. Source, Narissa D. Pena, second deputy city clerk. Well, I saw the first deputy city clerk today over at a check cashing place. It's about 1:47, almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know what time he goes on break, but I was wondering, isn't he supposed to be at work? He was searching his entire car for something. He goes into the check cashing place, but not before leaving his driver's door open. He must have been all disheveled, a lot on his mind. He goes in there for about 5 minutes, comes back out and leaves. What is he doing? What are officials doing? There's 3 of them, 3 city clerks, and I get it. I have to represent every party, right? The special meeting, it's not going to be about the Ludlow project, but this is a special situation here, folks. There's a lot of interest in this Ludlow Park area and this Ludlow Park proposal. Everyone is interested. Of course, our elected officials, Mike Spano, because his property is right here. You see where this arrow's pointing? That's 132 Fernbrook. See Fernbrook Street here? Across here currently is the county, all county, I believe, or county-wide school bus depot. They want this land. So it won't be there much longer so they can put that beautiful park there. But who paid for the study? Mike Cater recently filed a lawsuit against all the elected officials, City of Yonkers, the mayor, obviously. And in the lawsuit, it speaks of the Ludlow TOD proposed plan. TOD stands for Transient Oriented District. It's all about the mixed use developments, all this funding coming from the federal government. These guys are just salivating, building like nobody's business. They want to get all this money before it's no longer there. And so they're putting all these mixed developments, meaning they're going to have everything, residentials, all kinds of businesses, the train stations right there. Perfect. Perfect for young professionals because that's what they're bringing in. You notice the developments are no more than 2 bedrooms. They have amenities that you'd find in a nightclub. So it's for young professionals that kicking the families out, primarily black residents here in the city of Yonkers. And this is just another part of their overall plan, the Ludlow project. It's going to call for a riverfront park directly across the street from 132 Fernbrook, owned by the Spanos, and 130 Fernbrook Street, currently owned by Mr. Joe Cotter. He is the iPark guy, the studio guy, owns the land that the studios are being built on, all up. Warburton's been buying Woolworth all up, kicking out the blacks. And they stand to make a lot of money once development happens here. Ginsburg has been given the contract or whatever, awarded the go-ahead to do the developments in this area. And so how much do you think the Spanos will sell that property for? Lots of money, I know. But did they ever mention that to the public? Did they disclose this? Were they transparent about the fact that they will be making lots of money on the sale of this property? And so why is it that the Yonkers taxpayers, once again, are footing the bill for this study? $500,000, according to Mike Cater. That's being discussed in the lawsuit. And so a lot of people are interested. Again, not just our elected officials at all levels of government, but individuals like myself who have podcasts, as well as the FBI. That's right, folks. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is very interested in what's happening over here. Is it stemming from the Mike Cater lawsuit? I have no idea, but I know they're interested. And so I think that this has made the Spanos very nervous. Vinny Spano spent about an hour on the phone with me one night, the night that I mentioned and first broke the Mike Cater lawsuit. He was like literally pushing me to get on the phone. Like, come on, man, I got some great stuff to tell you. Go grab a cigarette. Let's talk. And he was outside. He was having a smoke as well. I can hear the crickets in his yard. And he wanted to talk all about the Ludlow project, the TOD, and how they didn't do anything wrong here. Mike Cater is just all about sour grapes. Their property is not even in the study, but that's a lie. That's a lie. And they try to highlight this yellow area as the rezoning area. But the reality is that all of this will be affected, including the area that's here, not shaded yellow, the property owned by the Spanos and Mr. Joe Cotter. More money, more money, more money. You know, I would really like to know why everyone criticizes Hezi, but always reissues his story. He has always been an advocate of YFD and has written about this for years, as you say. He started this whole thing back in the day, and he has paid the price. Yeah, he has. And then some. He did his time, as you say. I'm up out of here. Well, you're not going to wait for the answer, Joan? Listen, Joan, the reality is that Hezi at one point was writing about the corruption, but somehow that changed. Some reason. Was it the lawsuit? The reality is, if you watch or you pay attention to what he's been doing recently, it's not been so honest, so nice. It hasn't. Do you see? He wrote an article about me. Why? Why? He didn't call me to ask for my side of things. He just went and posted this article that at least was a little closer to the truth than Ruro's, but still did not call to ask me about this situation, did not post a police report to make it even more clear on what happened in that video. And he allows comments to be made, anonymous comments that create a perception and a narrative of individuals that's false. He was determined by a judge not to be a journalist. He's not a news site. And therefore, he had to give up his sources because of it. And so he does not represent us anymore the way he should. He is not doing his journalistic duty or being a journalist with integrity. And in fact, honestly, I may agree, believe what some people say when they tell me that he's no longer even running the page. So maybe it's not Hezi. Why hasn't he posted the lawsuit in regards to the term limits? You're on it, Joan. I mean, why? Why has he made no mention of it? I mean, so, I mean, you know, look, at the end of the day, I'm always going to be about people's actions, right? Your actions, in my book, determine what I believe about you or what I think about you, not what you say, because people could say anything. But watch what people do over time. That will tell you everything you need to know. And over time, Hezi has not been fair and balanced. He has not been unbiased. You know, he's supported the administration for the most part since I've been doing my podcast. And he's written articles that were wrong, nasty. He posted things about, you know, individuals' personal lives that have nothing to do with nothing, that are not newsworthy. But he wanted to create this perception about these individuals. And so that's not nice. And so again, maybe he's not running the page anymore. I don't know. That could be quite the possibility, Joan, but I'm just, you know, I don't think that he wrote but not initially. He wrote about the lawsuit the other day. I'm not initially. And I mentioned the fact that he didn't write about the lawsuit and maybe last week sometime, and he had not written about it. And maybe he wrote about it after now because people were saying that, right? So I don't go his page every day, but I go on it because he'll have certain things that are interesting. I think are interesting to speak about to the people, right? Because it's not about Hezi, this article here. This article is about the Ludlow proposed plan, right? And how that's in the Mike Cater lawsuit, how the city of taxpayers were the ones footing the bill for the study. You know, the mayor owns property there, Joe Carter. So that's why I'm bringing it up. He wrote an article about the lawsuit for the firemen. And so I wanted to mention that because I think that was important. So it's really not about Hezi so much. You know, I use stuff about Rose also. I mean, he has videos there, you know, and I talk about them. So I don't dislike these people personally. It's not like, oh, I hate them so much, I'm not going to use their articles, I'm not going to even mention their name. You know, some people are like, I don't like that person, I'm not even going to say that person's name, right? You know, I'm just not like, it's not personal for me. It is what it is. This is what's going on, and I speak about it. But that's really it. It's not personal though. I don't have an issue with Hezi like that. Court counsel designs are well known by now. Their philosophy is simple. We know we're dead wrong, but we dare you to outspend us in court, right? And that's a philosophy that a lot of people use, actually. It's your hard-earned income versus their endless taxpayer funds, right? Spano crime family, exactly. So they don't care if they get caught doing, you know, something like they did to Anthony DiMaggio. You know, either they're not going to get caught, they get rid of him, they got what they wanted, or they get rid of him, they get caught, they get sued, the taxpayers pay for it, he's still gone. Doesn't matter, they keep it moving, right? Doesn't stop their show, doesn't stop anything, they keep moving. So, you know, Hezi is bought and paid for just like most of the city council. Mr. ABC is the pimp master, you see? So, you know, and it's not, I'm not saying that because John Cater also believes that, right? It has nothing to do with that. It's just what I see him writing. He doesn't cover things fairly, right? He doesn't mention the Mike Cater investigation and how he was attacked by the city, the Committee for Better Yonkers, and how, you know, a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about. Basically, he doesn't talk about that, right? And why not? Why didn't he mention that stuff? I mean, that's, you know, me mentioning that stuff is one of the reasons why people, you know, like basement politics, because they want to hear the stuff that's not being mentioned by the other guys, right? So that's you know, hi, one of the best Yonkers, best info on all of Yonkers update. Hi, thank you, Raymond. I appreciate it. But anyway, so yeah, going back to the Ludlow project, that is concerning the Spanos. I believe it 1,000%. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that, you know, they have not been transparent in what's been going on there. The fact that they own the property there, they stand to make a lot of money. The property is located directly across the street from where they're going to locate that riverfront property. And the owner of, is it Countywide or All County? He has some connection to the Spanos, right? I saw him one day going to the church next on McLean, next to where they're building the new school. You know, it used to be a church owned by the church and that property. And he goes in, he opens the door and he walks in. So I asked him, I said, oh, he had the shirt on, Countywide or whatever. And I said, oh, you own the building there. So he said, no, I'm just coming here to cut the grass. I said, really? You're the owner of the bus company and you're coming here just to cut the grass, but you don't own the property, right? That was the same day where I saw Tom Landy, the deputy mayor, and he told me that I can go ahead and change my outlets without filing for a permit. So this is the area here anyway. And it's funny because Vinny Spano sent me this exact picture right here. He sent me this a screenshot of it, and he wanted to prove to me that their property was not in the, the rezoning area, right? So that's what they're nervous about, folks. Again, rezoning changes that they're doing all over Yonkers has been a problem elsewhere here in the United States. In fact, elected officials, city council members, and developers have been arrested, for zoning change scams. This happened in LA, and I mentioned this, Dallas and Cincinnati. Now, will it happen here in Yonkers? The FBI is very interested. They're seeing that a lot of these zoning changes are happening all over. And there was an issue with the Zoning Board of Appeals. Remember, again, I mentioned this going back to a few, podcasts ago, a few months ago, I should say, where Wilson Kimball, who's now the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeal, managed to get individuals removed without even telling them. Just get them out of here. Let's bring in new people. Let them find out on their own. They received a letter officially letting them know that they were no longer needed 3 months later. But they found out when they saw a meeting that the Yonkers City Council was having where they were appointing new members. One of the new appointees was a young 20-some-year-old kid whose father owns 470 Nebrand, a real estate investor here in the city of Yonkers. So why did Wilson Kimball get rid of them and get herself in that position to be the chair? So they can do all these zoning changes that's going on now. The members that got removed did not want to approve certain zoning changes, specifically when it came to the project on Hudson, 44 Hudson Terrace. So they just got rid of them and passed it anyway, approved the changes anyway. And city council, headed by Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, just approving changes, no questions asked, just approving them. And in fact, after the meeting where Tasha Diaz called, people beggars, once it all quieted down and most of the people left, they moved on with their meeting of changing zoning laws all over Warburton, where majority of the black population once lived. I'd say once lived. They're getting kicked out, right? And these zoning changes are impacting people here. They're having to move because of it. And so what is Lakeisha Collins Bellamy doing about it? Her people, her area is being changed because of the votes that she is a part of? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. She took part in selling JFK Marina, giving it to developers who say they're going to give it back once they develop it. Why? Why would they do that, right? So zoning changes, that's the issue that has the Spanos very concerned in this area. They're going to question that. Why are they changing all these zoning laws? Is it really improving the city of Yonkers? Is it addressing many of the needs that we have here? Many of the housing needs? No, not really. The housing needs are for those who qualify for affordable housing. Not even low-income housing, but affordable housing. And affordable housing is not welfare. Some people treat individuals who qualify for affordable housing as if they're just a bunch of lazy bums. But the reality is, those who qualify for affordable housing are hardworking people who can earn over $100,000 a year, but still not be able to find a quality, healthy and safe, affordable place to live. But Mike Spano campaigned on making Yonkers affordable. And they tout all the new affordable developments that are going up. But really, are they? What they've done is renovated existing housing stock like Mulford Gardens, Cottage, the chicken coops on Warburton, 160 Warburton even got a makeover. But how many have they added? And what are the quality and the conditions of those that they have added? Like the new low-income and affordable housing development off Ashburton there. Side Street, where from day one, residents were complaining about leaks. Mold could be seen on the ceiling. And so they were dealing with that because they are rapidly building these developments. They don't care. These are non-union work. They're not getting local labor are not getting jobs on this like they were promised when they first talked about bringing these developments to Yonkers. Think of all the jobs it's going to create. But it has not. And the only people that have benefited are the elected officials. No one else in Yonkers is benefiting. No one. Except the elected officials and those that have businesses that have contracts with the city. That's the only individuals, those are the only individuals benefiting. I have a question. With all these zoning, is it going to benefit in improving the neighborhood? Yeah, it's going to improve the neighborhood. It's going to put a bunch of luxury developments, taller buildings than they said they would build before. And that's why they have to change the zoning laws to allow for those taller buildings. But is it going to make it better in terms of, the quality of life? You're going to have to deal with more crowds, more traffic. The cost of rents are going to be going up. They already have. Everybody's seeing it. And they're going to continue to grow up as the demand for housing increases. But it's a demand coming from a new demographic, a demographic with higher income coming in from the city. Individuals who are used to paying $4,000 a month for an apartment. So paying $3,000 is a steal for them. Now, people in Yonkers, that's expensive, especially when you're talking about a 1-bedroom or a studio apartment, 550 to 750 square feet. It's a box. But they sell you on the luxury amenities, right? The roof deck lounge and all that stuff. But it's just bringing in young professionals, people from the city. The families who come in from the city are buying houses on the outskirts of the downtown area, bringing up the prices of the homes here in the Yonkers. Investors are coming in along with these big developers and buying up the smaller properties around. And sure, they're, beautifying the area. They're, giving a facelift, so to speak, making the, the look of the properties better. They were dilapidated before, many of them. But is it for the people that have been here all their lives or been here for, for a long time now, who have been calling for these improvements? And when they're finally here, they can't afford to enjoy it. They can't afford to stay. And so they're having to leave, right? So it's great, but who is it for? It's not for the average person in Yonkers. As the mayor says, the average person in Yonkers makes $35,000 a year. The average 1-bedroom in these luxury developments is $36,000 a year in rent. So the average person cannot afford it. They don't make enough. Right? So who are these luxury developments really for? And again, these are nothing special. I used to, live out various places in the country, Midwest, and the South. And these apartments with all these amenities are a dime a dozen. And I used to always wonder why New York didn't have these type of apartments where you have pools. Some of them will have 2 and 3 pools and workout rooms, saunas, jacuzzis, all that stuff. Dishwashers was, that was like, oh, got a dishwasher in an apartment, multiple bathrooms, nice tiles, granite countertops. That's a dime a dozen in the Midwest and down South. And you're not paying $3,000, $6,000 for, what they're asking for here. But obviously, New York is a little different. What I'm hearing is that from Getty Square to Warburn up to Glenwood is going to buy up the area. Yeah, that's a gentleman by the name of Joe Cotter. He, along with a company called is it Greenpoint or On Point, something Point, developers, they build studios. They build movie studios. That's what they do. And so Joe Cotter, bought the land, right? All the land. He's buying all the land on Woodworth if he hasn't already bought it. Warburton, and then the developer On Point or whatever come in, they develop the studio, right? And they manage it or whatever. And then Lionsgate rents it from them, right? So that's how, so Lionsgate doesn't own the land. Joe Cotter owns the land. Lionsgate are not the developers. On Point or whatever Point, something like that, I forget what it's called, are the developers. Lionsgate are just the tenants who are renting the space to do what they need to do. So Joe Cotter's making buku cash. He bought this land and he's buying it cheap, considering it's, and he's pushing people out. They're making offers to individuals on Warburn just before you get to Ashburn. They bought those like 2 or 3 houses there, but they gave him $500,000. That's it. That sounds like a lot, but it's not. if they played hardball, they could have probably got 700-800. However, if they played hardball, then the city would send in the building department and give those owners a hard time, which is what they've done to certain businesses on Woodworth. If they didn't want to sell, they said, okay, well, you have to redo the entire building. You have all these violations. Now, is that something that they're going to do, or they're just going to take the cash offer, which I hear is, almost like a mortgage. They're giving people half up front, right? Half of the offer price, and then the rest they're giving them payments. That's what I heard. I don't know all the way how true that is, but that's something I heard. So, it's definitely changing the place for the better, but who is it for, right? And if you're going to change the place for the better, but you're going to push out the people that were here that have been asking for this, that have been calling for this for a long time, that's not the way to go about it. We could have beautified Yonkers in a way that didn't have to jack up prices and the rents and all that stuff. I can't wait till subpoenas start dropping. Well, some already have started dropping, right? Your brothers, Mike Cater, he has his. The Yonkers NAACP and the Republican Party have their lawsuit on the term limits. And then I hear other lawsuits are going to be coming in regards to the term limits as well from other individuals. So there are going to be multiple lawsuits in regards to the term limits. And then there are going to be those other lawsuits in regards to personal matters from other individuals. So how many lawsuits will Mike Spano have to deal with? Do we want to vote in or elect an individual that's going to lose a bunch of lawsuits, causing the taxpayers, us, to pay for it? Do we want that expense? So we know this. Are we going to continue to vote for Mike Spano? He's had his time. It's not personal. Like I said, I don't dislike Mike, right? I don't dislike anyone I speak about personally. I really don't. It's not personal. When you make it personal, it's when you make mistakes. It's business. Even when I go and do what I do in the podcast, it's business. And you have to be smart, because when you make it personal, you make mistakes being personal, right? You make emotional decisions. And so I don't dislike them on a personal level. I don't wish nothing bad on them. I just think it's time. It's time. We have to have change. But how do we go about that change? That's what's important. And that's why I was a bit upset about the way people went about the term limit thing, lawsuit. Going to be a lot of people soon with chest pains. Why? Who's going to have chest pains, John? Lawsuits are coming. That's right. A lot of lawsuits again. And another thing I heard, and I don't know how true this is. By the way, I think this is something you guys should know. If you want to learn more about the Ludlow plan and projects, go to the Yonkers website, Ludlow Community Plan. You have here the Ludlow Final Scope Adopted, Scoping Presentation, Ludlow Draft Scope. Has all the information on the Ludlow TLD plan, everything that's been happening, all the environmental studies and all that stuff. So if you're interested, go check it out. It's on the Yonkers City website. Now, folks, I've heard something that it's really disgusting, but I don't know if it could be very true. I'm hearing that the administration, this is alleged sources, reliable sources are alleging that the administration and those who support another term for Mike Spano are going around telling people if Mike Spano's not elected, that the black people are going to take over. Dun, dun, dun. Is that true? I've actually heard this now several times. I've heard that people are being told if they do not vote for Mike Spano, what they're going to get is a government that resembles more of what happened the night that Tasha Diaz called everyone there a beggar. Now, this is supporting what I was saying, that this was done intentionally and that they were allowed to go for so long so people can witness the ghetto display, the ignorant, the horrible display by our majority leader, Tasha Diaz, and even the inappropriate, unprofessional display exhibited by our city council president, two women who are black. And so were they trying to say, hey, look, this is what it's going to be like if you don't vote for Mike Spano. We'll have a mayor who's going to be calling people beggars. during city council meetings or any meeting here in the city of Yonkers. And so is that a strategy where they once sold voters on the idea of it being a black person or Hispanic? They're now trying to, convince voters not to vote for anyone but Mike Spano. So we don't get a government taken over by blacks, because you see how they act, right? And that's what I think is really happening. And I think that's why they allowed that to go on for so long, why no one stopped it sooner, why they didn't cut the live feed. It was disgusting display, and is not representative of all black people. It is not representative of all Latinos. It is not representative of all people, all elected officials, all human beings in general. It is only reflective of those specific individuals who chose to behave in that manner that day. And for that, we have to make sure that we vote them out. Bottom line. Bottom line. We should seriously start a free Mike campaign. He doesn't look well, and rumor is he didn't want to run. Brother Nick is the puppet master. I've heard that also. Not just Nick, though. I think Zahi Jarris was behind it. And in fact, I posted up a text message from a group chat that Zahi Jarris, Vinny Spano, and I were in, where Zahi Jarris says, I want the mayor. I hope the mayor runs again. This was back in August when we went out for drinks once. He was saying, I'm really hoping the mayor runs again. I'm pushing him to run. This is what Zahi Jarris was saying. But he already knew what the plan was. They already knew that Lakeisha Collins Bellamy would be introducing legislation to extend term limits. They already knew that. But they are the ones that are pushing him because they are the ones that benefit. Mike is good. He's good. He's going to go retire. Eventually, when his last child leaves the house, he's going to get divorced. He's going to get a nice divorce settlement. Mary Calvi is going to have to pay, spousal support. Although he's got a lot of money himself. I hear he's worth $5 million. But is that Mary Calvi's money? And I hear that the Calvis and the Spanos were like the Montagues and the Capulets. Is that what it is? From Romeo and Juliet? They didn't get along. Or some say the Hatfields and the McCoys. But more Romeo and Juliet. And so will they divorce and Mike get a nice settlement? I don't know. But I don't think that Mike Spano truly wants to run again. I really don't. I think that Zahi Jarris, who benefits when Mike Spano is mayor, Nick Spano, who greatly benefits from Mike Spano being mayor, and Vinny Spano, who is greatly benefiting from Mike Spano being mayor, have forced Mayor Mike Spano to run again. The guy is tired. He's done. He's done. He can't even deal with it no more. He has to drink now. That's what I'm hearing, allegedly. People are saying. He's drinking too much. But it's probably a lot of stress. A lot of stress. He's doing pretty much all the work while everyone else gets to benefit from it. Nick Spano is benefiting greatly. Damn near all the developers are his clients of his lobbying firm, Empire Strategic Planning. Zahi Jarris takes advantage of opportunities in the building department, I hear, allegedly helping individuals get rid of their building violations. And this is being done with corporate counsel Matt Gallagher, allegedly. I hear, though, that Nick Spano does not know about this or does not know to what extent Zahi Jarris is allegedly abusing the Yonkers building department for his own financial gain. Again, this man has a $200,000 pool, I hear, with Grotto, Playboy Mansion style. Call him Hugh Hefner, the guy that loves cousins, even though he's married. Scarsdale, Grotto in the pool. He's making a lot of money. But is it really all just from his car wash and his real estate investments? Or is he making a lot more money with these developers coming into Yonkers? And why is it all of a sudden the city building department is so concerned with these property owners and fixing up their buildings when before they didn't care? They allowed these buildings to pretty much be dilapidated while still being rented out and occupied. But now they want people out before Christmas. And so why isn't our elected officials stepping up and saying anything about it? Because they don't care about you. They only care about themselves. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he wants to run again, but he looks tired. He's done a lot. He's had enough. We've had enough. If you'll take union cash to make Knucklehead Smith the police commissioner, then you're obviously not concerned about lawsuits. Right. They don't have to pay them. It's all taxpayers that imagine that. You can do whatever you want. If you get sued, taxpayers pay for it. They keep their money in their pocket. Then they hire their law firm connections, like Harris Beach, to defend them, paying taxpayer money to Harris Beach as well. Not just the settlement, folks. It's also their attorneys that represent them in these lawsuits. So Harris Beach makes money. And I hear that Mike Spano has hired Harris Beach to represent him in the Mike Cater lawsuit. Well, Harris Beach also represents lobbying firm Empire Strategic Planning, the Nick Spano-owned lobbying firm that has clients like AMS Acquisitions, the landlord to John Rubo's Yonkers Brewing Company, developers like Ginsburg, the ones doing the TOD plan, Ludlow Park project, developers like the Gorin Group, who own or bought recently the what do you call it, the power plant, and also took over JFK Marina and will be taking some of Trevor Park. And I was wondering why they would do that to the people there. Then I realized the people won't be there much longer. It doesn't matter, right? So Empire Strategic Planning is making buku cash. Buku cash. And so they're going to keep the mayor in there until he literally can't breathe anymore if they could, because there's no one else is going to be able to take over. They were hoping that Vinny Spano would get his act together and maybe he could run. And at one point when we were sitting down having drinks, he told me that his wife was wanting him to run for mayor. And I didn't want to laugh in front of him. So I pretended to be like, really? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Nah. That guy could never be mayor. I mean, all the shit that will come out on him, forget it. I don't know why you would even want to do that. But his wife would love it, right? You would love to be married to the mayor, wouldn't you, Jamie? Any more emails, Jamie? Because I hear you got reprimanded. Anyway, what else are people telling me? Oh, let's get to this DPW thing real quick. How much time I got? So, I'm getting a few calls about this. Tom Tieterman. Tommy T. You see, you mess with me, I'm going to get information on you. And I'm not saying that you were messing with me, specifically Tommy T, possibly Tommy T, but there was a fake page on Facebook that mentioned you, Tommy T. And I asked this fake profile person, what did they get out of doing this? I mean, to go and stalk people using a fake profile to write a bunch of immature nonsense comments. Like, what is it? What are you getting paid? I mean, you don't have nothing else better to do. You don't have a life, Well, the response was, I don't get any money for it, but Tommy T loves it. And I was like, Tommy T, who's that? Well, Tommy T is Tommy Tieterman or Tommy Tuckerman. He is one of the higher ups up there at DPW. He might be the deputy commissioner now that Sam Borelli left, but I'm just getting this information, so I'm still getting all the details, right? And Tommy T has a son. His son used to work for the company that serviced the city trucks, the DPW trucks. But he was fired from that company when they found out that he somehow stole $250,000 from the company. And they were going to tell the police. They wanted to call the cops, but his daddy is Tommy T, and his dad is connected. And so they worked something out where the company that he stole from and got fired from would get paid back. And allegedly, reliable sources are telling me that it is taxpayer money they are using to pay this guy's debt. Not only did they use taxpayer money to bail this guy out, but he also got a job at DPW. So now he works for the city. Hopefully he won't rob the city of $250,000. Got enough guys robbing the city already. Stevie Squig, how's it going? And so now they told this guy and the city of Yonkers that you guys got to pay me back or we're going to call the police and we don't want to service your trucks here in Yonkers anymore. You got to take it to the Queens location. So that's where they go now, spending more gas, more time for guys who have to drive down to Queens to get the city trucks fixed. This is what I'm hearing from sources allegedly. Still working on getting the details. But the guy has a job with DPW. One of many individuals who have been arrested or involved in some kind of crime, yet they still have been hired by the city. And many times they go on to reoffend while working for the city, like John D'Onofrio. And I'm wondering if he's related to the landlady, my landlord over at the child care center, her attorney. His last name is D'Onofrio. And lately they've been acting very funny with me. I mean, they don't even communicate with us anymore. Why? What did we ever do to you? And that's what I mean. We can't get away from it, folks. No matter what, we always run into it. Moving on with my last 10 minutes, Akeem Jamal, got to bring him back up. Akeem Jamal and a gentleman by the name of Jamal Ibrahim, they're not related. One is African, I believe. The other one is Indian. And I only say that because few people made the distinction to me. I thought they were brothers, but they're not related. But they are friends. And they recently threw the mayor a fundraiser. I posted screenshot of a text from Mr. Allah Neighbor, a Yonkers City DPW employee. Or is he a Parks Department employee? I think he works for the Parks Department. Well, anyway, he was conveying a message to someone on how you can get a job with the city, with DPW. All you have to do is donate to the mayor's fundraisers. And he was inviting the individuals to come to this recent fundraiser thrown by Akeem Jamal, the drunk driver, and Jamal Ibrahim, an individual who was arrested and charged initially with 100 grams of cocaine. Both these individuals were partying with the mayor, Nick Spano, and others the night that Akeem Jamal got into the drunk driving accident. And many have alleged that it was not just alcohol, but also drugs that may have been in his system. And that was covered up. The kid ended up getting a raise. And what about Jamal Ibrahim, the guy who got arrested with 100 grams of cocaine in his possession? He was charged, but then it disappeared. Where did the charge go? Where did the cocaine go? And not only did the charge disappear, Mr. Jamal Ibrahim got a job with DPW making $72,000 a year. But he was arrested with 100 grams of cocaine. And where did the charge go? Disappeared. Disappeared. And so why, and many people are wondering this, why is it that this guy, Akeem Jamal, has so much steam? His dad skipped the front of the line to become deputy commissioner of the IT department here in the city of Yonkers. I hear his mom works for the Board of Ed. And his sister has a part-time job, but gets paid like a full-time employee. Akeem Jamal has been treated quite well here in the city and recently was pushed off to the governor, who tossed him down to Roosevelt Island, where he got a job as a communications director, making $150,000 a year. But they wondered why over at Roosevelt Island did this guy get this job with no real qualifications or experience? And why were they pushing him into this position? And so there's an article about him in the local newspaper there on Roosevelt Island. You want to check it out? I posted it on my page. So why are these two individuals so well connected? Why are they so protected? Why are they so favored by our administration? Is it anything to do with information that they know? Is Jamal Ibrahim, aka Jimmy, the guy who brings the party favors? And so we have to protect our party favors guy, Mr. Party City. But not only does Jamal Ibrahim, Mr. Cocaine Cowboy, work for the city, making $72,000 a year, He owns a phone store on Yonkers Avenue. And I know some people like him. I know he's a good guy. Don't mess with Jimmy. I'm not messing with Jimmy. I got nothing against Jimmy. Just giving you the information that people are telling me. People are fed up. A lot of people, many city employees are fed up. And they're talking. And some want to say so much more. And they will. They're just waiting for the right time. See, 12 years of the Spano administration has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, even some that have been hooked up. Because even though they've gotten hooked up, doesn't mean they've been treated with respect. Not everybody that gets perks and benefits have gotten them because they are really close and really liked by the Spanos. Some of them have gotten these positions because of things that they've done for the Spanos, but doesn't mean that they're liked by the Spanos. And so those individuals usually don't last long, but if they do, over the years, they develop this hatred for certain individuals within the family, and they're ready to spill the beans. But be careful, because they're looking to fire a lot of you guys. I don't know if it's because they just concerned with the leak, who is leaking all this information to Freddy Vazquez in basement politics, or is it the fact that elections are coming up next year and they need to free up jobs for their election supporters? It happens every election. Last year, a bunch of people got hired for supporting certain candidates. They skipped the line. Nice cushy jobs, getting good overtime because they supported, they helped people like Lakeisha Collins Bellamy get elected. People like John Rubo get elected. And so for that, they are rewarded with jobs. So they have to free up jobs every so often, just before elections, in order to do this. And so there are individuals right now on the chopping block. And I will pray for you guys. Some of you don't deserve it. Others, it is what it is. I knew you was going to say something. Vinny and Mike Spano make the Cuomo boys look like altar boys. Women would come out of the woodwork. Women would come out of the woodwork. Yeah, Vinny likes the women. I mean, we were drinking one time over at Fargady. I never had to say Fargady's. He could not stop looking at this chick and kept saying, "Man, she's hot. Man, that chick is effing hot." Yes. And you know, and I don't know. I always thought I was weird because I was never that guy that was always like, "Man, she's so hot, man." You know, and so you know, I was like, "All right, dude, she's pretty. We get it." Like, you know, he just could not stop. And I never understood why guys just, you know, you ever been somebody, maybe guys, you're hanging out with a guy, you have a friend that just has to look at every booty that walks by. You have guys, they have one of those friends. It's like every booty they have to. You're in the middle of a conversation talking about something serious, important. Yo, man, did you see that booty? Did you hear what I just said? You know, I got one of those friends, but that's a Vinny. Vinny's one of those guys. Like, he's got to look at all the booty all the time. And he could not stop talking about this woman that was at the bar there. Listen, that's his business. No, Freddy, not Jimmy. That's my people, man. You know, listen, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. Probably a great guy. Probably a guy I like to have fun with. I'm sure he wouldn't want to have fun with me now. But I'm just saying what people are telling me. And, you know, his charge disappeared. That wouldn't happen to me. They're looking for charges to put on me, let alone make them disappear. And so I got to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because if I got caught with 100 grams of cocaine, they would have fried my ass. And they would have blasted it all over the social media pages that they control, right? And other people as well. And so, you know, why is it that certain individuals have this luxury that others just do not have? And that no one really should have. I mean, no one should be, you know, let loose technically, right? If you're caught with 100 grams of cocaine. I mean, you technically should be going to jail if, you know, if that's the case. So why does he get away with it? And I hear that his baby mama might become a judge. Yo, that's crazy, right? Yes, Alexandra Bessie. Did I get that one right? Or maybe I know it was one of those. The new stepdaughter, Carmen Gomez Goldberg. She's been like walking her around now, trying to introduce her to, you know, that's how it goes. She's going to be the next judge. Got to walk her around, introduce her to everybody. Coming from Rockland County, now in Yonkers. She recently got a position in the city. and they're trying to push her over the judge. But your baby daddy rocking with mad cocaine. I'm just saying, this is the legal, the law. How's that gonna work? You know what I mean? How's it gonna work? Individuals like that, they become judges. Then you can say, hey, listen, I don't want that person to sit on the bench on my case because the X, Y, and Z, right? They'll have all these issues that people could bring up. So I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know. And did it have anything to do with, the night that Akeem Jamal got into an accident? I mean, the guy drove down Central Avenue the wrong way. And there's a median that divides Central Avenue, right? So, like, you have to have made an effort to actually do that, to get onto the opposite, the oncoming lane. And he crashed. Thank God he didn't kill the guy. But I found it interesting that the guy sued Akeem Jamal and his family, really, who owned the car. It was the BMW. What is it with these BMWs? It's a BMW. And the guy who sued him did not mention the fact that Akeem Jamal was drunk. He only said that he was speeding and that he was driving, erratically. But he never mentioned the fact that he was drunk. Why? That would be the main point of my lawsuit if a guy hit me while driving drunk. Sure, he might have been speeding. Sure, he was on the opposite side of the road, but he was drunk. That's why. But it was not mentioned at all in that lawsuit. And so that's power, that they're covering it up for this kid, so he can go on and be very successful while others who are more deserving get nowhere because they don't have the same opportunities, let alone the same, damn near, hookup all the way, 100% hookup. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. So it's not against him, though. I don't dislike the guy. Who hating on Jimmy, Freddy? That's my people. He good. No, I'm sure. No, nobody's hating on him. They're just saying that, he was arrested with 100 grams of cocaine. Now it's not there anymore. The charge disappeared, right? And then he recently threw a fundraiser for the mayor. Him with Akeem Jamal, the guy that drove drunk. And so, how is it that these guys get jobs and then get raises while other people who don't have these, issues, who have been applying for jobs still don't get a call back, right? And then, and if you look at it in terms of income inequality, and let's talk about inequality, right? Well, income inequality is a major issue. Income inequality, the fact that these jobs are not spread out equally, right? And more people are not given opportunity, that allows for, this wealth gap to develop, right? That's why the average person in Yonkers makes $35,000 a year, while the average city employee makes, according to this website on the internet, $179,000 a year. That doesn't make sense. The average city employee makes $179,000, while the average person in Yonkers, who lives in Yonkers, the average resident, makes $35,000. So that means that most of the city jobs are going to people who don't live in Yonkers. So that's taxpayer money, that's leaving the city and is not being put back in here because they don't own homes here. So they're not paying property taxes, which go to the schools. So that does impact it. And then also it leaves the people that do live here, primarily those on the southwest side or the west side, south side, to stay and remain in poverty because they're not given opportunity to get these $179,000 jobs, right? And so it's not fair. It's not fair when certain individuals, and you should understand this, when you got the hookup, other people don't have the hookup, other people, lose out, right? And you kind of that same thing a little bit, because of the hookup for certain individuals, right? So that's all I'm saying. Somehow we got to figure it out and make it kind of even, I guess. So it's not about him specifically. It's about the system and how he's benefited from that system tremendously. Right. I know little Jimmy, 25 years. He's a friend. He has supported Hispano since he waited tables at Julio's decades ago when it was a Spano Central. I don't care for the Spanos, but I like loyalty, so I understand. Always happy to see Jimmy. Yeah, no, I'm sure. Definitely. Yeah, loyalty is definitely a good thing. And it's rare these days. You don't find people who are loyal anymore. But, so I, and in all fairness, I have to, if people give me information, right, as long as it's not something crazy as, I have to speak about it because then, people are going to say I'm picking and choosing what I talk about. Right. And I don't want that to be the case because then I'll be put in the same category as Ruros, as Yonkers Tribune, Yonkers Times, and all those guys who are very biased. So I don't want to be biased. Right. So if people give me information, I got to put it out there, even if I like the person. Right. I liked Vinny Spano. I did. I like the guy. but he wasn't a good guy, you know, at least not to me anyway. You know what I'm saying? And he was playing a game. And so at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? I'm not, you know, just because I may like you, it's not personal, right? It's not personal. It is what it is. So yeah, so that's why I mentioned it, because this has been something that's been told to me a bunch of times. And I don't want people to say, well, I give him information and he doesn't put it out there, so I'm not going to give information anymore about anything. And then people start saying, oh, he only picks and chooses what he wants, you know. So that's, I have to kind of, you know, I have to be fair. The crazy part is so many single parent homes having to work 2 jobs to maintain. It's sad. Yeah, 1000%. And that's what I'm saying. Like, for example, and you know my cousin, right? You know, he, you know, has his kids. You know, he's trying to do his thing, and he's been trying to get a city job for a long time, but never got a call back, right? And you know, someone like him, that would greatly benefit him. I mean, for a lot of people, anybody, really, that would be a great thing if you can get a good city job, start getting paid $100,000, you got a pension and all that health benefits, and you know that would help him break the cycle, you know, that he's been in, right, of working, you know, these jobs that don't pay really enough to get you out of, you know, a certain environment, a certain community where you maybe want to buy a home or you want to buy something, you know, and so he's been kind of stuck in there and he's trying different things, but no one, you know, the city doesn't call back. And so then they came to him, and I only think that they came to him because they knew he was my cousin, and offered him a job if he paid $8,000. And I've heard this before. I've heard that, you know, you could pay for jobs. People have paid, I've heard $10,000 to $20,000 for a job with the city. You know, you pay certain individuals. So he got this offer for $8,000 and he was going to do it. He's like, I'm going to go through with it. And he said, listen, man, you know, I don't want to pay $8,000. And a lot of people don't want to pay. But if they can't get the job any other way, and where else are they going to work? Yonkers is either you work for the city, you own a business, you know, or there's not really too many options to make $150,000, $200,000 a year unless you own a business or you're working for the city. So, you know, so people want that, so they'll pay. But then it didn't work out because they said that, you know, oh, your cousin is Freddy Vazquez. Now we ain't gonna do it. But for one, he should have been got a hookup. And I'll tell you why. Because some of my other cousins have gotten hooked up because of Vinny Spano's best friend, my cousin, Erwin Vazquez. Right. And so, I mean, and Erwin and I never really had a relationship, really. I mean, you know, we not that we had issue, but he's a second cousin. Right. So it's not like we talk, but he hooked up some of my other cousins. He knows the cousin I'm talking about very well, but he's never reached out to him, and he's reached out to them like, yo, what's up? Like, you know, I got one cousin that works for sanitation. I got another cousin that's a Yonkers police officer. My cousin Erwin, I don't know what the hell he does for the city, does something. His wife is up in the city clerk's office there with Vinny, right? So they got the hookup, right? But that's actually divided our family also, believe it or not. You know, there's been a divide in the family because of that, because some of them didn't agree with that. But they got the hookup. So why didn't you give my other cousin a hookup and say, hey, or at least help him out? Nah. So what they did was they put him in this situation where they offered him something only to pull it away from him. So then they could say, oh, because your cousin was Freddy Vazquez, that's why. So then he could come and be upset with me. So that's the game they were playing. They playing these games to get people to be mad at me, even my own family, right? But my cousin, we're like brothers, like, so he's like, whatever, I don't care. And I told him, I said, listen, first of all, Erwin should have been hooked you up. So the fact that Erwin ain't even do more for you and some of the other ones didn't do more for you, they whack for that anyway. And they should have been knew that you were my cousin, okay? Because Erwin knows, right? So the fact that they pretended they didn't know you were cousins, you and I were cousins, and then they tell you after was them playing a game. They wanted to dangle the carrot in front of you, then pull it away and say, see, because of your cousin, you can't get this carrot. But they never were going to give you the carrot to begin with, whether I was doing this or not, right? Because if they were, you would have had the carrot a long time ago. And so this is what I mean by actions. Actions speak louder than words. Watch people's actions and you will learn a lot. Doesn't matter what people say. It matters what they do. And in watching and studying, because I get obsessive with it, I've learned a lot about a lot of people. Our elected officials, I'm speaking of. I watch a lot of Mike Spano videos, watching him speak, watching what hearing what he says, and any other person I can watch on YouTube or anywhere else. It's all part of the game. If you want to be the number one player, gotta work hard for it. So yeah, so you know, that's how it is. I'm out of here. A friend of mine knows Erwin, and she was talking about him the other day. It just came out of the blue. We'll talk offline. I wonder was there anything interesting? you know, my cousin Erwin actually introduced me to Vinny Spano. He was the one that gave me his number. Funny that he reached out to me and we never talked. I'm like, oh, Erwin, now you're going to reach out to me. And, you know, and so he gives me Vinny's number. I called Vinny. We started talking. We started, you know, talking a lot. I mean, we talked a lot, me and this guy, Vinny. I mean, you would have thought he and I were best friends as much as we talked. You know, but they call my cousin Erwin Spano, because he's so like up the Spano's ass, right? And he probably, you know, I believe he was involved also, though his name didn't come. It kind of did, but it kind of didn't in that whole video that they put out in that bullshit story that they created to get me into that position and calling CPS and all that on me. You know, that whole thing. When I got that email from Kenyatta Connor on the same day that CPS came to brag about their daycare and their grand opening. Listen. Karma's a bitch, right? And it goes around, Kenyatta. And you shouldn't do things like that, because even if you felt like, yo, F him, you should have just kept that to yourself. Don't put that negative energy out there into the universe, because it's going to come back tenfold. Promise you that. It does. That's why I say I don't have an issue personally with nobody. I'm not wishing nobody bad. I'm just trying to see this city change a bit and be more fair. I'm trying to see, you know, our government be one that truly is for the people, representative of all the people here in the city of Yonkers, to truly want to see people do well, and not just a few, you know, but everyone do well, especially those that are in need most, right? But all people. Address issues like the damn potholes that are all over Yonkers. Yonkers has some of the worst streets I've ever driven on in the United States. I mean, folks, be careful. There's a pothole on the left lane just before you get to the Palmer or Lockwood exit when you're heading on the Sawmill North. Nasty pothole. That's new. And then there's another pothole when you're getting off the Spring on the Central Avenue when you're coming from when you're heading south on the Spring. They're both new, right? Because we know where the potholes are, but then there's the new ones that you get caught up with. They're bad, so be careful with those. And so, see, these are things that I would address, right? Or anyone that I feel that is for the people should be addressing, even though that's a state road, even though that's a county road. It doesn't matter. People from Yonkers are damaging their cars on it. So take it upon yourself, mayor and city council, and fucking fill it in. Take some of these DPW guys that are like Steve Squig, who's claiming all this damn overtime, put his ass to fucking fill in some potholes. Do that shit at night when he's supposed to be working, right? But no, they let him screw around, get over $207,000, you know, salary, and what did he really do? And we're still screwing up our cars on these potholes. And so that's what I'm saying. They don't care. We need people like that in office. And so that's what I want to see. I'm not looking to see people go to jail. I'm not looking to see people, you know, get screwed up or anything like that. I'm just looking for shit to change, right? For people like me not to get attacked when I'm trying to do something good for the community, for people like you not to have your ideas stolen and to not be supported, you know, and to have, you know, people just completely disregard how you feel, not validate your feelings, right? You know, and that's what being an elected official is all about, right? Supporting, representing, being there for your constituents, the people that fucking put you in that position to begin with, mother. Gee, I'm sorry. I just get so angry about it. I don't like putting people down. Like, I don't like hurting people. I don't, you know, as much as they try to make me out to be this crazy guy, it's funny because I don't have no issues. You see Tasha Diaz screaming at people. You see other people getting arrested. Not me. I'm chill. I'm cool as a fan. You know what I mean? Gat in hand. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so, you know, I don't want to see nobody hurt, and I like to help people, right? And I don't like bullies. I don't like bullies, and I don't like people who try to hurt other people, and I don't like liars. I can't stand a liar, yo. And that's what we have in our city council. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Thank you for joining me, folks. Check out the Ludlow plan. Find out why they're so concerned with it, man. Read up on it. It's you know, it's interesting. It's interesting, at least I think it is. See what it's all about. You can find it there on the Yonkers website, city website. You know, there's a screenshot here of the area here in the study, and then this is the proposed area of the zoning changes, the yellow, but the entire dotted red area is the area overall study that's being conducted. You know, there's an important meeting tomorrow. Make sure you check that out. Firemen, hopefully you'll get your money, get compensated, and you know, it is what it is. Stop being cheap. Look, they act like they love our firemen and our police, but then they really do them dirty on the low. You know what I mean? So I truly support the police officers. I support the police department, and I'm helping them out. They know how. You know what I'm saying? They my boys. The boys are my boys. Listen. They my boys. The boys are my boys. Anyway, folks, I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics, and don't forget to spread the word. Yonkers' voice had child pornography in his computer. Was this investigated thoroughly? Where did this video originate from? Who was the victim in this video? What was the result? Like, what was the end result of this? Who investigated this? Like, whatever happened? We need to know. This is being shared in Yonkers, and a man that goes around to schools and everywhere where there's kids with a camera had it in his computer. How do we know he didn't call the cops just to try to get ahead of it because, oh, shoot, you know what? They could trace this and track this on my computer. So let me get ahead of it. And he watched it because he described what was on it. So how do we know he wasn't watching this for a while before he called the cops? Folks, this is real serious. And I hope that the Board of Education, check it out. Martha, you see this? Send this to the Board of Ed. Whoever you spoke to, say, look, read this. This guy had child pornography. Young female child giving oral sex to an adult male. That's what it says there. I'm sorry for being graphic. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. I'm relentless. Ruros. You want me to stop? Who were the elected officials that wanted you to hurt my business?
Freddy wins. Fatality.
If not, I'm going to keep it going and going and going because remember, you the pedophile, not me.
How would be?
Zahi Jarrett, $1 million. Ain't you making enough money already with all your involvement in various activities? Seda, did you tell your son to stop with the fake pages and the nasty comments and posts on the Yonkers Newswire? You know, I got him as an administrator, Seda. I got your baby boy. You know, the one that Lakeisha Collins Bellamy said was cute.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
I think she was drinking that night. I am Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. The only place you get it real, raw, unbiased, untainted, and unfiltered. Folks, I do this for the people of Yonkers, and shout out to the people that are out there truly fighting for change. You know, and I have my issues with that lawsuit. I don't want nobody thinking that it's everybody. It's not everybody. It's just the way it was about, because that is creating a division that I believe will hurt us in the coming elections. People have their own agendas, and I'm not for that. I'm not here for an agenda. I don't have a CPS case because I have an agenda. My wife has not been harassed at work and warned by her boss because of an agenda. I didn't have the child care council of Westchester come at me because of an agenda. I did it because I want to see change. I'm out here representing and supporting individuals who have been mistreated by our city officials. And I'm here to out our elected officials who are corrupt. That's my agenda. Not becoming mayor of Yonkers, not becoming representative of District 1, 3, or 5. Not trying to take Mike Spano out. I just want change.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
In another one, Mr. Rubo lied to me. And I don't vote for a person that lied to me. Thank you very much.
I want to end this quick because I'm greedy and I want somebody to want a chicken. So thank you.
In another one, Mr. Rubo lied to me. And I don't vote for a person that lied to me. Thank you very much.
But I am the bad guy. I am the bad guy.
I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. but I'm a councilwoman. So the capacity that I know you in, they may know you in a different capacity. I know you have a lot of women that work in your office. And I was also told that you favor some over others. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. Please elaborate on that.
But I am the bad guy. I am the bad guy.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
But I am the bad guy. I am the bad guy. Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today. That's a lot of stars. Hopefully, we're going to get to 3,500 stars. When I get there, I will be happy. And at the end of the broadcast, I will send you a personal message to every single one of you who donated stars. I will say you. Los de que hablan español, mande unas estrellitas para nosotros. Trabajamos muy duro para mantener la comunidad informada. Trabajamos muy duro para ayudar a nuestra comunidad, más a la gente que tiene negocios pequeñitos.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
So that my competition, the guy who always talks about me and say, awful things about me, he will not have a problem, guys, benefiting. Because he doesn't cover. He only talks trash. I don't talk trash. I cover what I feel it's important to you guys. We are the real McCoy. We are the original. We are the leaders. They follow us. Yonkers voice lets it work. Speak for itself. We do not need to slander. We don't need to harass. We don't go, behind elected officials who go to the store with cameras videotaping when they go there and buy. We don't need to talk about them in a negative way. Yeah, we might not talk always nice about them because, we have to hold them accountable for what they do. But there is a difference between holding somebody accountable and harassing somebody and slandering somebody. That is a huge, huge, huge difference.
By the way, I have two other police reports in regards to Rui Ben Rose, aka Yonkers voice, in which people reported and called the cops on him for harassment. One of them was a woman who was working in a Family Dollar store, and he went in there harassing her. She told him to leave. He left. But when she closed and went out to the parking lot to get into her car, he jumped out at her at night with his camera. I have that police report talking about harassing.
An optical illusion that people are following him. The truth is, nobody is. The truth is,
Freddy wins.
That's the truth, mofo. I am Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics. We gon' keep it going, folks. Continue to send me information. politicwithfred@gmail.com. politicwithfred@gmail.com. And again, it's not personal. It's politics.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vazquez.
Freddy